Im Canva 101 or Canva 101 to Canva 101. Before we begin, I would like to remind you that for those who are here and heard my message before, and to those who have just come in, that questions will be at the end of the presentation, but if you do have a question in the middle of our presentation, please type it in the chat. And if you want to wait until the end, just press the raise hand button and we will get to your question in due time. Thank you. Give me 1 second, please. So welcome everyone to Canva 101, presented to you by the Buckles Adult Services Committee. My name is Andrew Simeone, one of the co-chairs of the Adult Services Committee, or the ASC as we call it. Before we begin, can anybody hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
It's
yeah.
Perfect. So today our presentation is just going to give you the basics of Canva itself. So because Canva is becoming a quite useful tool within our libraries, and for the most part, it's free. So without further ado, let us begin our seminar or workshop, whatever you wish to call it. So our agenda for today is starting with our presenters. It'll be myself, as mentioned before, co-chair of the Adult Services Committee, Cara Scott, my fellow co-chair of the Adult Services Committee, Jennifer, who is one of our premier members of the Adult Services Committee, and Tatiana, another premier member of the ASC. And so for today, we are going to cover, as mentioned before, the basic level topics of Canva. And this will include what are the essential tools of Canva with a demonstration on what they are, collaborating and sharing with other users of Canva, fellow librarians, or people outside of Canva. Again, it will be demonstrated for you. And following these two topics, Tatiana will handle our Q&A session. So all of your typed questions and raised hands will be mainly answered by her, with chiming in from some of our other presenters if they can elaborate or expand on some topics. Now, participants will be muted in this section. And sorry, they will be muted until this section. So I apologize if we are controlling your volume right now, but no interruptions until the presentation has been ended. Thank you. Now, at the end of this presentation, it is being recorded and it will be shared. Afterwards, maybe a few days afterwards. So what exactly is Canva? So at its basic level, it is a free-to-use online graphics tool that is used to create visual content. Some might compare it to, if you remember in the 90s, the old Printmaster programs. My mom used to have one of those. Or the things you could do on basic Microsoft Word, but this is more than that. This is specifically for the creation of things like social media graphics, presentations, posters, and even websites if you can put your mind to it. Now, what they can do is, let's say you've been using Microsoft Word to make your posters. This will be different because Canvas has a drag and drop interface, customizable templates, print products, and video editing tools, and it comes in both free and paid versions. So if you want to fork over the extra moolah, you can absolutely do so. And The versions are free, and the paid versions are Pro, Teams, and Enterprise. We will be focusing on the free version in this presentation and maybe with some interlapping between Pro and Teams, not Enterprise. So what is the difference between these versions? Well, other than the fact that one is free and one is paid, it also, each version is different in the amount of creativity you may have access to, the tools you may have access to, the size of saving RAM and cloud storage that you have. For example, in the free version, you get 4.7 plus million photos, graphics, fonts, video, and audio. But in all of the paid versions, you get upwards of 141 million of those same exact items. And to compare the cloud storage, you get 5 gigabytes of cloud storage in the free version, but 1 terabyte of cloud storage in the paid version. Now, if you want, and the paid version also gets you access to support tickets. Now, then again, we are libraries. We are public libraries. When we can grab something for free, we do it. And for what it's worth, of which I'll be learning with you, the free version does give you a lot of creative access to what you want to do. Sure, 4.7 is not 141 million, but that's still a lot of art that you can use to paint your canvas. And the other thing, both of these versions, you can still export your designs using as PDFs, JPEGs, or PNGs. So it's not like you are limited to what you can create and how you store them on your computer or in your cloud. So how can libraries use Canva? For one thing, you can create flyers and posters. Let's say you have an event that's coming up and you decide, I want to create something eye-catching for this event to get the most amount of people here. Canva can help you with that. Social media posts. What if you want to advertise your book club and try to get all the kids involved as well? And you know, oh, they're always on the social medias and your Tinders and your, I'm an old man. No. So you can do event promotions on there. Heck, if you want to interact with your audience more, maybe give them some book recommendations or the last minute schedule changes that may happen on account of somebody can't make it, or your library is in a town that just experienced 3.5 feet of snow and it had to close that day. Also, presentations. I created this presentation using slides, but this can also be used as well for some items like staff training and outreach, and even patron classes if need be. Signage. What if you want to create a new shelf label that says this is, that this section is the history section, the fiction section? Absolutely. And your hours, worker laws as well. You can also make newsletters on this. So just as a reminder to everyone, read the Adult Services Committee newsletter. Read the Adult Services Committee newsletter, please. And so much more can be done as well. So thank you for joining us for this presentation. I am going to be passing on the baton in just a minute, and I will be back for one final slide to conclude. But final notes. When you use Canva, just be sure to be creative. Canva is your canvas. Explore and create at your own pace. Now, as mentioned before, there will be a question and answer session with Tatiana after the presentation, and you can type in your questions if it just comes to you like that, or raise your hand at the end. Cara is going to be our first presenter, so please, Cara, the stage is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Andrew, for that very good intro.
You're
So
welcome.
I am going to first get us started in visiting Canva and then logging in or creating an account. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open my web browser, but oh no, the first thing I'm going to do is share my screen. So okay, here we go. Okay, so Canva is a web-based tool, so you don't have to download anything. You simply have to go to canva.com. And this is what Canva looks like. So next, if you have an account, you could just select login. If you don't have an account, you can select sign up. And you can link it with your Google, your Facebook, or just your plain old email. I use my Gmail account because it's much simpler. So I'm going to go to login and I'm going to go to continue with Google. And I have a lot of accounts here. But I'm going to select the first one, my Teaneck email, because I'm from the Teaneck library. And today we're going to be focusing on the free version. So your libraries may pay for Canva, which means you have more access to, all the Canva Pro graphics and stuff. But for the purpose of this presentation, I'm just going to be using the free Canva. So I'll click on my email and it's just letting me know that it's linking my Gmail with my Canva. And I'm going to click continue. And we're in. So this is the Canva homepage. So just a reminder, this is very beginner friendly. So you may, if you've, logged into Canva before, you may already know all of this stuff, but I'm just going to go over, some of the different things you see here on the home screen. So first, and I have some notes because I can be a little long-winded sometimes. So the first thing we'll look at is this left side menu here. So this 3-line menu opens up more menu options. So it'll show me some of my most recent designs. And then at the end, I can see my trash can. And this is where all of my recently deleted designs will go. And I can restore them for up to 30 days. So this is one of the ones that I deleted here. So if I go to the 3 dots, I can go to restore and then it will put it back in my designs. Let's see. Okay, and it tells you here that after 30 days, they'll be permanently deleted. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to close this menu. And then right beneath that, we have our create button, our create a design button. So if I click on that, this is how I would create a whole new design. So it gives me up here some dimensions for different designs I might create, like a poster, a bookmark, an Instagram post. And it shows you the dimensions here. So 1080 by 1350. And beneath that, it has some featured templates that you might want to use. And on the left-hand side, there's some more different designs you can make. So if you want to make a presentation, I like to make presentations when I teach computer classes at my library. So I like to do a little intro presentation. So I would go here. And again, it shows you some templates at the bottom. If you want to do a custom size, there's the option to do a custom size here. And then you just put in whatever dimensions. You could switch to different measurements here. Okay, so I'm going to X out of this screen for now, and we'll go back to this left side menu. So of course we have the home button. So this is just your home base here. And we'll go down to projects. So this is where you'll find all of your Canva designs. And there's different ways to sort it. And Canva is a collaborative tool, so you can even sort it by graphics that have been shared with you versus the ones that you created yourself. And then over here, you can see we have all designs, which is what's being displayed now. We also can make folders in Canva. And this is useful if your library is sharing a Canva account. You can each make your own folders and give it a name. and then put your designs in your folder or however way you want to organize it. Okay, and if you want to create a new folder, you just go to add new and then folder, and then you give it a name. Name. Very creative. And then I'll hit continue. And now I have a new folder. Let's see. And if I click on it, I can add designs here. So this is the inside of the folder. And I can go to add designs and then my projects, and then I can just add in a design there. Okay. Oh, and also in the projects tab, you can find any of your uploads. So images that you uploaded that weren't available in the Canva library. Okay, so beneath that, we have our templates. So here you can find templates for just about anything. You want to make a book sale flyer, you can make a book sale flyer. You want to make a, let's see, an Instagram post. So you can search whatever template you're looking for here. So if I want a book sale flyer, and it gives me a wide array of flyers. And I want to, if I was using the free one, I want to avoid any that have the little crown that says Canva Pro. Many of them do, which is why I'm glad that we do have access to the paid version. And you can just take these and edit them for your needs. I highly recommend using templates because it takes a lot of the headache of trying to make a nice design out of it. Okay. All right, so back to the left-hand menu. We have a brand kit. So you see the little crown? That's a paid feature. You need Canva Pro for this, but it's very useful. You can put in your library logo and your library colors, and you have a little brand kit. So that helps you, it'll be all in one place. So that helps you when you're designing a graphic. Just go to your brand kit and apply the colors that you want and the logo that you want, etc. Okay, and then underneath we have Canva's AI tool. So I have experimented with this and it's like not my favorite. I would much rather just use a template. I feel like I have more control. I have there's so many options in Canva. I feel like you don't really need to do this. But it's kind of fun to experiment. So I'll show you what it looks like if you give it a prompt and have it create a flyer for you. So, and you can see these little buttons down here. You can, narrow down what you're creating, but I'm just going to use the general search box here and say, create a summer reading flyer. The summer reading theme is Color Your World, I think. Sorry if it's wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And make it nice for kids and adults. I was going to say appropriate, but that's too long of a word to spell right now. And include images of books. I'm not being very creative, but let's see what it comes up with. And you can give it much more detail than that, but so it's generating this summer reading flyer, and let's see what it comes up with. And so you can use whatever it comes up with and then edit it to your liking. So if you do like what it comes up with, then, you can use it. I've had it make photographs of people, and it was very uncanny valley, and I wouldn't recommend it. But so these are some of the flyers that it came up with. Not terrible. In our little practice session the other day, it came up with kind of wonky looking flyers, but this is available to you if you want it. Okay, we'll go back to the left-hand menu here. So we have the last thing here in the menu is the apps. So these apps, they're a part of Canva, and you can use them to have access to even more design tools and things to enhance your designs. So for instance, I really like the QR code generator. So you can add a QR code to your design. just by putting in the URL, and then it'll generate a QR code for you. So I'll talk more about that tomorrow in the 201 session if you're attending. Another thing you could do is, I mean, you could maybe add like a chart to your design if you want. There's a mock-up app where you can create product mock-ups. So maybe if you want to like design a shirt for your library or design library merch, you can use this mock-ups app. But this is a little more advanced, but I just, just letting you know that it's there. Okay. And at the bottom, we have our notifications. So if you ever get any, comments on any designs you're collaborating on, they may appear here, things like that. And then down here is my little profile picture. So here I can play with the settings, change your username and password, access helpful resources, log out, or I can switch or add an account. So sometimes you might, be switching between accounts. And then on the right-hand side, in the right-hand corner, there's this little live chat feature, but this is just a bot, but you can ask it questions. I believe it's just a bot. But if you ever, need help with, you don't remember where a tool is or how to use it, you can always use this little thing. Okay, and I'm gonna go back to the home page. And I think I kind of rushed over this part, but this the homepage here has this search bar where you can search for your designs, and then you can also search for templates here. So this is all on the homepage as well. Okay, so that's it for the homepage. So I'm gonna switch it over to Jennifer.
Hello, everybody. So I'm going to be going into a little bit more detail about some of the things that Cara discussed. So let me just pull up my screen to share it. Hopefully you can all see. Okay, so as Cara said, this is the free version of Canva that we're mostly focusing on today. When you are in Canva, you are going to see a lot of things do have these little crowns. Do not frustrate yourself. If you try to use an object that has the little crown, when it shows up on your paper, it is going to have lines and watermarks across it. So it will not be something you want to use. So definitely avoid those crowns just to make your life easier. I'm going to bring us back to the home because I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the materials able for you to use, starting with the template. So just for the sake of our demonstration today, I'm going to open a blank flyer. And I'm going to bring us over here to the search box that automatically appears on your left when you open a new flyer. And you can make a template. It is searchable. So I would highly suggest putting in something to narrow down all the templates so you don't have to look through all of them. For instance, I just put in summer. Everything that comes up on the side here is now going to be a summer flyer. So maybe you see the beach you want to use. Maybe you see some bright colors you want to use. You look for one that appeals to you. So I'm just going to pick this one for now. So that will help you do. If you're doing a social media post, anything, you can use these templates. Just make sure they don't have the crown. Now, there's a couple ways to add text onto the thing you're creating now. So I'm just going to minimize the templates here and have my flyer up. There already will be text on a template that you use. You have the option of either editing this text and putting, I'm just going to change it to, let's say I decided I like this background, but I want to make it a spring flyer. And I'm just going to make that a little wider so spring appears all on the same line. But you can edit the text that is there, or I'm going to bring us back to home again just to show you what it looks like if you use your own text box on a blank flyer. You can add a text box instead, and you're going to use that by using the menu on the side that Cara was talking about. You're going to want to find the one that says text. You're going to want to click on it, and you're going to see a bunch of options. There is add a text box, have magic write via AI, add your brand font, add a heading. So you're going to pick the one you want. It'll appear over on your page as soon as you click it, and you can type it to be whatever you want. For now, I'll just write hello to you on there. Sorry. My screen went a little, sorry guys, my screen went a little haywire on me there. But you can add your text using those text box tools, or you can edit the text that is given to you. Either way, it's going to auto save on there. Now, the next thing you're going to be adding in Elements is you can add the pictures on. So I'm just going to go back here again. Sorry about that, guys. A few technical difficulties. My screen got really big. From home, designing that flyer. Over on the side here, you're going to see one that says Elements, just like you could add the text box that I added when I wrote hello to you guys. You can now add in elements. So you go over here, you're going to see ones that you've recently been using, which is great if you are doing a bunch of theme things. I just finished making all of our summer reader flyers, and I was able to use some of the same graphics on each one to kind of give myself cohesion. Just like with the text boxes, you can put in what elements you want. So let's say I am looking to create things for this summer. If I put in the word color, I'm going to see all graphics that are associated with color, and I can add in the ones that I want to use. So let's say I want to add these colored sprinkles here. And you can size them wherever you want on the document. Another really useful thing, if you are looking for graphics and you don't see any you like here, or you have particular ones you want to use, you can cut and paste out of Google Images directly into Canva. So you'll be able to get a lot of images that you haven't downloaded, just cut and paste them directly in. Okay, now let's say you decided you really can't stand this graphic you just put on there. If you click on that graphic, that one is still highlighted, and you hit the trash can, anything that you've put on here can go away. Just use that trash can. You can make things disappear. All right, so I just wanted to pull up for you guys an example of a flyer that I've been editing multiple times for various things. I started with it from this template that gave me the fall one. I put on the text I wanted. I edited the things how I wanted. I didn't want to reinvent the wheel for future programs. So I moved it to being a winter one. As you can see, I used a Pro Canva snowman. I've moved it to bring a spring one, and now I've updated it for this summer. So without actually taking down the whole flyer so that you can still use elements of it, you can just keep editing the same flyer, which is really useful if you do multi-season things. So you can just change the artwork on them too. And I know Cara mentioned the QR codes. You can also cut and paste them into here. So if you create them in Google, you can actually just cut and paste them right onto here. They will absolutely work. So that works really well without having to use the QR creator here if you wanted to. So it's just an alternate way to do it. Sometimes on some of my flyers, I will put the QR right on that, though I don't have it on this one. Now, if you are working in a library environment, a lot of times you are collaborating on flyers and things with your fellow staff members. If you go up to the top here where your little icon is, that's just a J for my name because I haven't bothered to put a picture on. But if you hit the plus next to it, you can add other people to work on the flyer as well. So I'm just going to move the this over here so that I can get in here. You put in the email address of the person you want to share with. So I'm just going to share with Cara today. You can write a note like, hey, I'd like to include you on this. Whoops, one too many. And then you just share to that person. Once that gets to Cara's email address, you're going to see that it says pending invitation. She actually has to go into her email and accept that, which she is going to do now while I'm still talking, so that you can see her start to change things on the flyer. One really important note on sharing. Share with people that you trust, share with people that you're kind of on the same page with, because any changes made by that person you just shared with will now auto-save. So your thing will be gone. So you either can share a copy with someone if you aren't sure you want their changes, but One of the other ways you can do that, when you are adding someone in, let's just say if I add a different email address in, which is actually just another email of my own, you can see on the side here that you can put the person to have editing access, or maybe you just want to share this with your boss before you post it. You can hit that they can only view it or comment on it. You don't have to allow them that editing access. So, Cara, were you able to accept the invitation on it?
One moment. I'm gonna go
Okay.
now.
Then you can see Cara will start to change things on the screen without me touching, but they are permanent changes. So definitely be very careful when you are sharing. Like for instance, I'm actually a services and children's and young adult librarian. Sometimes I share things with the schools. How much do I want them changing the thing I'm sending out? Sometimes I have to kind of figure out what kind of editing access I want to give people, or if I just want them to comment and see if I think it's constructive, that kind of thing. So especially if you're collaborating with an outside group, like say in the adult department, for instance, a presenter you're having in, decide if you want them to just be able to make a comment like, hey, I'd really like you to change this, or do you want them to actually be able to edit? Because that can be important depending on who you're allowing to get into your documents. Then we'll just give Cara a minute to accept the invite, and then hopefully you'll see a few things change on the
Hello,
program flag.
I'm in. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay. All right, should I take over now?
Absolutely.
Okay, that was awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, so as you can see now, I'm in Jennifer's design. So I'm just going to kind of play around here and show you some of the different tools and some of the different, little things that you see here on the menus. I'm not going to focus as much on making it look nice. It already looks really nice, so I'm probably going to ruin it, actually. But Jennifer made a copy of this design, so that's okay. She gave me permission to ruin it. Okay, so let's see, what are some things that we can do here? So the first thing, you may have just seen that I'm using this little slider on the bottom. So this allows you to, as you can see, make the view bigger or smaller. I like to make it really big if I'm trying to be very precise with one of the elements. So this is very useful. Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot of different things going on. If you hover over one element, you see this kind of solid outline, this solid purple outline. If you want to move an element around, as Andrew mentioned, this is a drag and drop interface. You just click, hold, drag and drop. It's very nice, very simple. You want to change the size, you use the little handles. If you want to crop it, you use these lines rather than these circular handles. So these little lines on the edges, you can crop the image. If you don't like something you just did, of course, we have these undo, redo buttons up here. Okay, so let's go back to the fonts here. So as you can see, there's these different text box up here. If you want to change the font, you can go to the menu up here. So right now it's Poppins. You can search for fonts right here. If you want fonts that look like handwriting, you can go to handwriting and it'll show you all the fonts that look like handwriting. I'm going to go back and let's see. I'm going to X out of this too, actually. If I want to add a new text box, I'll add a text box. And down here too, you can see they have some font combinations that you can use. So fonts that look nice together. If you like, a lot of them have the crown. So, maybe avoid things with the crown if you have to. Let's see. So say I have 2 lines of text. So here I have multiple lines of text just within this one text box. So up here, you have those basic things that you can do. You can change the text color. You can use, of course, make it bold or italics, or you can also change the spacing of the letters or the lines. So I can make oh wait, I'm hiding it. I don't want to do that. I'm going to make this a little bigger. So I can select this button here and make the letters very far apart or very close together. I can change the space between the lines, which is kind of fun. Let's see. I can also use some different effects to make the text kind of 3D or, you know, stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to select fall and I'm going to go to effects and I can give it a shadow and I can change the way the shadow looks. I can change the color of the shadow, which is kind of fun. Let's see. There's more effects down here, so you can make it hollow, give it an outline. So you might just want to kind of play around. And then at the bottom, I could make it curved, and then I can change how curved it is. And I know this doesn't look good, and I know that Jen's original design looked much better, but again, I'm just showing you what you can do. So those are some things that you can do with text. Okay. Let's see, what else did I put? Oh, colors. So you can just choose colors from the color wheel here. So say I want to make this text a certain color. So I'll go to this color option here and it shows you the colors within the document. So that's really good if you want, you know, consistency. It'll also below here will show you colors featured in the different images that you use in the flyer. So it's showing me colors for this specific image here. So again, that's a really good way to maintain consistency as you're making your flyers. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to upload your own photos. As Jen mentioned, you can just copy and paste it from the interwebs. But if it's something that's saved on your computer, so I'm going to upload a photo here. So I'm going to go to uploads, and then here's my previous uploads. And then I can go, if I want a new one, I can go to upload files. And oh, that's fun. That's a picture of the Teaneck Library renovation. Where did it go? There it is. I don't know if I can show that, but let's see, what's something I can show? Okay, I'm gonna upload this watercolor sunset. Okay, so now it's gonna be in my library of uploads. And I'm actually gonna create a new blank page on here so I can, because I feel like this is starting to get look a little bit busy. So I'm gonna I could duplicate this page and have the exact same page underneath, or I can add a new blank page. And as you can see, it kept the background color. If you want to change it, you just click on the background and then change it here. But anyway, so I'm gonna insert the upload. And we're gonna do a few things with this image here. So one thing that you can do is you can add a border. So right here, I can click on that, and then I can have a dotted border, I can have a thick border, and I can change the weight of the border. And this is really fun. It can be really fun. I'm gonna undo that, and I'm gonna show you how to add shadows to make it a little more three-dimensional, because I don't always like very flat images on designs, especially with the sharp edges, so kind of softens it a bit. So I'll click on it and I'll click on edit here. And so I like that the background remover is really useful, but that's a paid for feature. I wouldn't use it on this image, but if there's ever like a photo and you just want, say, like whatever is in the front of the image, and you don't want the background, it's useful. Or you can find free ones on Google too if you don't have Canva Pro. But anyway, down here we have some filters. So you can apply filters. You can make them more intense or less intense. And then we have effects, which is my favorite, the shadows, the shadow effects. So I'm going to click on that. You can give it a glow. You can give it a little backdrop here. And I don't know if you can see, but it kind of creates that nice shadow effect. And it makes it look more professional. Okay. Oh, and another thing, you can increase or decrease the transparency. So up here, I have this little transparency tool here. So right now it's at 100. But if I want it to be a little transparent, I can just play with this guy. And it kind of makes it a little bit less harsh. And that's useful if you want to make like this photo the background. It's nice to kind of lighten it up so it's not, obscuring the other stuff on top of it, sort of. Okay. Okay, so Jen talked about, and I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here. I'm getting a little too excited. But Jen talked about applying elements. So in this left-hand menu, you go to elements. There's a lot of different elements you can use. So shapes, graphics, which are like, drawings or cartoons. I don't know if cartoon's the word, but they're not photographs. And then you can use photos, even videos. And this is I like using the stock images in Canva if I'm ever paranoid about, copyright issues, because if it's in Canva, it's mostly free to use as long as you kind of make it your own. But anyway, so one of my favorite effects, or I'm sorry, one of my favorite elements are the frames. So a frame is when you can make the picture take the shape of the frame. So I can search for frames up here, or I can just click this little button that says frames. And they have this little sky background. So I'm going to go to see all. And you can see there's all these different cool frames. Some are in the shape of things, like stars and such. So I'm going to click on the heart, and I'm going to find an image in my library. Let's see. I guess I'll use this AI generated images of dogs exchanging books at a poker table. Very specific. That was Tatiana's prompt the other day when we were messing around with the AI thing. Okay, so if I want this picture to take the shape of the frame, all I have to do is click on it, drag it until I see it within the frame, and then I release it, and then now it's in the shape of a heart. And you can do that with any image or any photo that you have. Okay. Oh, layers. Okay, so these I'm going to go back to the first page here. So these different elements are all in like a certain position. So sometimes you'll have one element that's obscuring another element, like say this tree. If this tree were here, well, maybe not this tree. Let's see. I might go back to the dogs shaped in the heart dogs. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the second page and say I wanted to add some text that appeared within this heart. And again, not focus. I know this doesn't look good. I'm not focusing on the aesthetics of this right now, but just want to show you how to position your elements. So I'm going to add some text. I'll say add a text box. And I'm going to just put in some text here. So dogs with books. Okay. I'm going to make it a little bigger, which I could use with the handles or with the plus sign. up here. I'm going to make the text white so you can see it. Well, can't really see it. So right now the text is in front of the heart, which is exactly what I want. But it's still kind of hard to see. So I'm going to add a shape underneath the text. So I'm going to go to elements and I'm going to go to shapes here. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I still have the search that says frame here. So I'm just going to clear that because it's not letting me see the shapes. Okay. So here's the shapes. So I'm going to add this little square. I'm going to put it under the text. So for the sake of this demonstration, it's already putting everything where I want it to, but I'm going to kind of make it a little less clear. So I'm going to go to the position part here. So if I click on one element, you can see position in the menu. So I'm going to put it in the back. So now the text has disappeared. And sometimes that will happen. And it just so happened that as I was adding these elements, it was already putting them where I wanted them to. But sometimes you will have the text being obscured by this element here. So all I'd have to do is I would have to bring it back forward, or I would have to bring these elements all the way to the back. So I click on this square again, I go to position, and then I can go just all the way to the back. But it's kind of two to the back, so I'm going to go forward. Let's see, where did my text go? There it is. Okay. So if I want to bring this forward, I lost it. I'm going to go to position and then forward. And now it's to the front. And it's still not quite all the way to the front. So I'm going to bring it to the front. There we go. So sometimes you'll kind of have to play around with the position of these elements. Let's see. Oh, and sometimes you might want to group elements all together so that when you move them, they move together. So right now, if I move this dog, it's just the dog that's going to be moving around. But if I want everything to move around, one thing I could do is I can click and then drag so that I see this purple square. And I'm going to drag until everything is highlighted. And then I'm going to select group. And then now this is grouped together. So when I move it around, it all moves around. Okay. So these are some things that you can kind of like play around with. Like if I'm making a design, I feel like I'm constantly swapping things out for something else and playing around with colors. And I know objectively this doesn't look good at all. So I would not release this on the library social media page. But these are just some of the tools that you can use that if you play around, you might find the aesthetic that you're looking for. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to show you is how to download your image or your file. So before Jennifer showed you how to share an image via email, so you can give people access right here in this box. But you can also copy a link and then share the link to this design here. You can also create a public view link. So this is helpful if you don't want people to have access to the actual design, but you want them to be able to see the graphic. So like I had presented at NJLA. So instead of providing a link to, the design on Canva, I provided a link to just the presentation. So you don't see all the editing tools and stuff. Okay. And then of course, download. So I want to download this. I'll click on download. And then I choose my file type. So JPG and PNG are good for social media. PDFs are good for printing and sometimes for emailing. If you have a video, like if you have a video element within your design, then you can download it as an MP4. So I'm just going to download this as a PNG, and I want to download the page 2. So I don't want page 1. I'm just going to go down here to select pages and then click, and then I can do just page 2 here, and then done, and then I'll hit download. Okay, and now it's appeared in my downloads folder here. There it is. So now it should be in your files. So if you want to send it as an attachment or anything like that, you can. Okay. And a couple other things I feel like I've missed. Do we have time? We have a few minutes, right? Okay. So this is where you would give your design a name. So you would just type in the name of the design here. And here, let's see. So, oh, here, the magic resize. So this is a Canva Pro feature, but you can resize the design with different dimensions and it will retain all the same like elements. And it will just say you want to post this flyer on Instagram, you can resize it and turn it into an Instagram post. If you don't have Canva Pro, another option is you can just copy all of these elements by highlighting them. And then you can paste them into your new design with the dimensions that you need. And then you can kind of play around to make it look good for Instagram. Another thing to note is that it does change as you work. So it's not like, you know, if you X'd out of here and forgot to save it, it's not a disaster. In the file menu here, you can, let's see, you can make a copy of the design. So this is good if you want consistent designs, or for the sake of this lesson, Jennifer made a copy, so I can, mess around with her design here. And you also can see the editing version history if you have Canva Pro, and you can revert to an older version if you've made too many changes. So these are just a few things here in the file menu. And let's see. Oh, another thing, you can name your pages. So right here, I can say page 1 is Fall Teen Programs. And page 2, I can say dogs. I don't know. You can use these little things to reorganize, these little arrows to reorder them if you'd like. Now, you can delete a page, you can duplicate a page, and you can add a blank page here. And let's see. You can also comment on elements. So this is especially helpful if you're collaborating. So say I want to say here, I don't know, a comment. I don't know what the comment would be, but I would just select comment and just add my comment here. Okay, and then the next person that the people you're collaborating with should see this comment and, be able to resolve it. Let's see. Oh, and this is one of my favorite tools that I almost forgot to mention. It's the tidy up tool. So say you have all of this text, it looks all wonky and it's not in the place that you want it to be. So this text is kind of hard to see here. So maybe I'll use this text. Well, we'll use this text here. Okay, I hope you can see that. It's hard for me to know if you can see because everyone's muted, but I'm gonna hope you can see. So we'll focus on these 2 lines of text here. So say I want them to be aligned, because right now they're obviously not aligned, right? So I'm going to select the first one, and then what I would do is I would hit Shift on my keyboard and then select the second text box, and then I'm going to go to position, and then I'm going to go down to well, it's not giving me the option to tidy up, so I'm just going to say I want them to align left. So I don't know if you saw that, but I'm going to do it again. Okay, so I want these to both be aligned left, so I can select left. Let me do it on the second page where there's a little bit less going on. So I'm just going to put a couple of text boxes here. So here's a text box. I'm going to make it a color you can see. And then here's another text box. And then, whoops, no. And then here's another text box. Okay, so they're like all wonky. So you could also, you notice when you're editing, Canva kind of has these guidelines for you, or you can just select them all either by doing select and then shift, or just dragging your cursor across all of the elements you want to align. And then you go to the position button and then, oh, here it is. Okay, space evenly, tidy up. Boop. Very nice. Okay, I could go on forever, so I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you.
All right, everyone. I think we are safely in the Q&A section, as Darlene also put into the chat box. So if you have any questions, you can either type them in the chat and I will answer them, or you can do the raise hand function and I'll get to your question. So we'll give it a couple minutes and see if anyone has any questions. But otherwise, if you do have to run, thank you for attending, everyone. And as Andrew mentioned at the beginning, you will get the recording and other resources in a few days.
While we're waiting, in case there are any questions, Cara, Jennifer, Andrew, Tatiana, do you have any other tips that you might want to mention?
Oh, I see a question from Mary. So Mary put in a question, say you have a photo to upload, does the image size matter for Canva? So from my experience, I haven't found that it necessarily matters. Of course, if you put something in and it's like a really tiny image and maybe you're making it for like a poster that you want to print for your library, then it might come out granulated if you then resize the picture to make it really big. But for the purposes of like putting it on social media or printing it for a flyer, I haven't had any issues with putting picture on and then having things end up like granulated or wonky or anything. So I hope that answers your question. Secaucus, it looks like, will this be available to us to rewatch to review? Yes, when you get the recording, you should be able to rewatch it as many times as you want to.
Before I forget, I did make an error in my introduction. Jennifer is the co-chair of the Youth Services Committee, so don't say I don't correct myself.
Thank you so much, Jed, because it was very nice of you to do this.
Oh,
I put you on the
happy
spot.
to join in. Maybe I can be an honorary member of the Adult Services Committee. I do actually do a small amount of adult services in my job as well. I'm just primarily dedicated to the kids and teens. We're a very small library, so my director and myself are the only librarians. So I actually do some of the adult programming as well.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
And remember, this is all free. So you don't, what we demonstrated to you was free items as opposed to what we would pay for. So what what they were able to do here, you are absolutely able to do. And just also remember this, Canva tends to be very intuitive. So if you do have any questions, you can absolutely come to us. Actually, let's do my final slide because, second class, is it available to all? Yes, you may come to our class tomorrow for 201
I think it's
at
the same
2
link.
o'clock. Sorry?
I think, is it the same link
I
as
think
this?
Yes.
so.
Yes, it's the same link.
Yep, at 2 o'clock. Do we have any additional questions, comments, concerns, queries?
If you can make the second class, will there be a video available for that one too? Yes,
Yes.
we're going to record the one tomorrow as well and send it out. So if you haven't registered for it, I recommend registering for it even if you can't attend, because then you will get the recording.
Really, the best way to get used to Canva, I found, is just get in there and play. There's nothing you can do wrong with it. It's free. Get in there and play with it. Decide if you need the paid features. Practice making things. The first few things you make might not be the slightest bit attractive or anything you want to display, but you'll get the hang of it.
And I think this might be in Andrew's last slide, but there's videos on Canva's website. They have like little tutorials. And then also they have something called What's New Wednesdays. It's they also post the recordings of those on their YouTube. So if you search like Canva What's New Wednesdays, it should come up. I think it's called What's New Wednesdays. I have to double check, but
Any other inquiries?
Can you pay for specific elements, or do you have to pay for Pro and get all elements? So I believe when you select a certain element, Canva does give you an option if you try to like download it to pay like kind of a one-time thing. So I would say that's up to your library if like how passionate you are about using that one element if you want to pay for it. To be honest, the Pro version isn't overly expensive to the point that if your library does decide that it's worth the investment, like it's not something completely out there cost-wise. But to answer your question, you should be able to pay for a specific element, to my knowledge. I have not personally done it, but you should be able to.
Yeah,
A
$10
pro
a
account-
month, it might not be worth it.
Yeah, I was going to say a pro account is $120 for 1 year.
And that's if you're just doing one person. So if your
Yes.
library wants to like share, like maybe your Circ account is the one connected to it or something, and then everyone has the login, you can always do that. Or there's always an option as well. If you guys have a really good relationship with your friends group, they can always try and get the nonprofit one. So it's basically Canva Pro, but it's free because they're a nonprofit. Unfortunately, the government organizations are not applicable for that. That is something Canva changed in the past few years, so we would not be able to get the free version, the paid version for free.
And Buckles, as Darlene had told us before, if I remember correctly, does have a pro account that can be shared with committees. Correct, Darlene?
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, the Pro account that we have does not allow for unlimited users, so it is available for the committees to use. And as Tatiana said, for libraries that weren't grandfathered into free Pro accounts, hopefully your friends group would be able to apply. For some reason, Canva's eligibility is not open to governments or education, surprisingly. So hopefully your friends group could help partner with you on that.
Anything else? If not, what the heck? Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us today for, wait, did somebody, okay, never mind. Thank you again for joining us today for our Canva 101 class. We loved that you joined us. Now, there will be an evaluation that goes out to all of you, so if you could please fill it out when you are able, okay. When you are able, we'll be sending it shortly, and by filling out these evaluations, we can put your criticisms, critiques, and even your praise to good use for future programs and workshops like this. Now, a recording will be available in a day or two, so in that time, if you need any help right away with a question, a concern, a comp, or just anything that is Canva related, you can contact us at the Adult Services Committee email address. We will answer your question when we can or when we receive the email. You can also visit the Canva website, which is on the screen right now. That way, Canva, you can explore their tutorials, experiment a little bit more, and find out what works for you. Because what Cara did, what Jennifer did, that's what worked for them. That's how they were able to create their items. But again, Canva is your canvas. Do it how you feel comfortable doing it, because art is the way you create it. So thank you, everybody. And that is it. I hope you were well informed about this. I hope you learned a lot and have a wonderful day. Stay safe. And we hope to see some of you at the 201 class tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Same bat time, same bat place, and same link.